It's Linda Cobb, and you're talking dirty with the Queen of Clean. Do you have dirt, stink, mess cleaning frustration? Do you dread cleaning? If so, boy, are you in the right place. Cleaning may never be your personal joy, but I can show you how to clean smarter, not harder, and get out of the house faster. So let's jump right in and get started. Hey everybody, it's Linda Cobb, and you are talking dirty with the Queen of Clean. On today's show, we are going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly on the floors in your home, and how to clean them quicker, faster, easier than you could ever believe imaginable. But before we get started, I want to let you know about my Facebook group, Queen of Clean Insiders. It's my private group where we all talk dirty to each other. Sounds like fun, right? We share personal stories, tips, tricks with each other. You have my royal invite to join us today at the Queen of Clean Insiders on Facebook. I hope I see you there. Now, today's show is all about doing your floors and doing them with mops and equipment that really works and is fast and easy to use. So first I want to tell you a little bit about the mops that you're using. Many of you have sponge mops. Now a sponge mop works like a squeegee. It pulls all kinds of dirt, soiling, and nastiness into the grout in your tile floors. Once it's there, it's pretty hard to get out, and it costs you a lot of money to have that professionally cleaned. So if you have tile floors, let's avoid that sponge mop. What's another reason to avoid it? Because it stinks. It molds, it mildews, and it's hard to clean. If you're using a sponge mop, I suggest that you deposit it in the trash can tonight and work with something a little bit more user-friendly and that works better and easier too. Now, there's rag mops, and all of you have asked me about rag mops. What do I think? Well, I think rag mops are great as long as you thoroughly wash them after each use. The problem with a rag mop, like many things that are heavy like that, is that it attracts all that dirt, all that mess, and then it holds it in. That's where you get that mold and that mildew smell. And you're also putting dirt back on your floor every single time that you clean. So if you're going to use that mop, commit to washing it after every single use. Now, what happens to hard floors when we wash them? Well, maybe you've got wood floors, tile floors, luxury vinyls, very popular right now, very easy to take care of. We have our tile, we have our Solido tile, we have all kinds of floors out there. And what we want to do first and foremost is keep from putting residue on those floors. Now, residue means that you're leaving behind cleaning chemicals or whatever you're using, and it leaves almost like a film on the floor. Eventually, you'll stand back and look at that beautiful hardwood floor, and all you'll see is that white haze. Maybe you'll see the dog's footprints going across the floor and yours, and you want to avoid that. So today I want to tell you about my favorite mopping system, and it's the one I use here at the Palace all the time. I use a microfiber mop. I want a mop that I can take the head off and throw it in the washing machine after every single use. That way, every time I go to wash my floor, I'm starting out with a clean cloth. Now, you don't want to have just one mop head. You want to have multiple mop heads. Use one for each room unless you have very small rooms. You don't want to spread dirt around on the floors. And that is the biggest problem all of us have when we mop. We use the same mop for everything. Now, microfiber, you'll order the head separately. The handle should be telescoping. When you mop, you want your husband to be comfortable so that he can raise that mop handle up as high as his shoulder blades. But just in case you decide to take on the chore, you want to be able to lower it down to your shoulder area. So a mop that you can adjust is really, really important, especially if you want to get some help from the husband or the kids. Now, where do you find microfiber? You can find microfiber at home centers, hardware stores, places like Bed Bath & Beyond. You can find it at Amazon, and the better quality you can afford, the better you will be. Now, also, you should get yourself a good dust mop. The dust mop comes in the microfiber too. And before you start washing your floor, you're going to want to go over it with a dust mop. Why? Why do you go over it first? Because if you don't, you're creating mud when you start to wash the floor, and you're not getting it clean. if you go right now and take a look at your floors, look and see what the grout looks like. Does it look hazy? Does it look dirty? Is it a totally different color than maybe it was when you installed the floors? If so, you want to start cleaning smarter and not harder by using microfiber. And with microfiber, the most important thing is you don't use cleaning chemicals. The nap of the microfiber will clean with nothing more than hot water. Yes, nothing more than hot water. You're never putting chemicals on the floor. The kids are never going to crawl on the floor and put toys in their mouths that have cleaning chemicals on them. Your cat's never going to roll around and have a seizure because he got into pine oil. You're always going to have a safe and clean home. Now, I want to talk about one more thing because a lot of you ask me about the steam cleaning machines. You know the ones I mean. They plug into the wall and you go along and clean with them and they steam the floors. And you know what? They're great. If you get a good enough one, they really do work well. And I suggest one that maybe has a battery or is chargeable because dragging that cord around is a real pain. But they do work. But what's the problem? First of all, you have to commit. And by commit, I mean, when you're having coffee in the morning, you've got to say to yourself, I'm going to steam clean those darn floors today. And then you're going to pull out that steam cleaner. Now you're going to have to either plug it in or make sure it's charged. You're going to have to fill it up with water. You're going to have to let it heat up to temperature. And then you're going to wash your floors. And I got to tell you, by the time you did all of that, I had my second cup of coffee and I finished cleaning with my microfiber mop. It's just so much easier. Now, use whatever works for you. I'm not here to tell you how to clean your floors. I'm here to give you some ideas on what makes it easier and faster. The only thing I urge is that when you're cleaning, you keep everything clean. Wash those mop heads. Clean everything you're using. Don't let them have mold and mildew on them. Don't let them grow bacteria. Because when you're cleaning places like the bathroom, let's face it, there's bacteria because none of us are totally perfect in there. So always clean things. Always hang them up to dry. Take care of your equipment and it will take care of you. Now, before I go, I want to say, first of all, it's such a joy for me to be doing this podcast with all of you. And I hope if you have any questions that you want to ask me, or maybe you've used some of my cleaning tips and you want to tell me how they worked. Maybe you had a disastrous dinner party and something you heard me say helped you out. I hope you'll share that with me at ask@queenofclean.com. That's ask@queenofclean.com. And guys, thank you so much for listening to my first podcast. And thanks for talking dirty with the Queen of Clean.